Joining us now to discuss possible U.S. retaliation, the Congressman from Texas, Dan Crenshaw, member of the House Intelligence Committee as well. Congressman, thanks for being back here on the Hill. We see you live up on Capitol Hill. There was a closed-door classified briefing for members of the Intelligence Committee, like yourself, this afternoon. You can't obviously talk about all of it. It's classified, but I'm wondering what you learned and if they said Iran was directly responsible.
Well, it doesn't matter what we heard in that meeting. I'll tell you what we all already know. Iran has long been very good at surrogate warfare. We call it unconventional warfare in our military. And that means training and equipping surrogates to do your bidding. They've done this all over the Middle East. Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, the Shia-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. They are responsible for doing Iran's bidding. Are they always in direct communication? Not necessarily. That's kind of the whole point. Iran creates this infrastructure, this human infrastructure, to attack us, to attack Israel, and then they say that they're not to blame. But of course they are to blame because they created it in the first place. And so we can look at this attack and we can say Iran is directly or indirectly responsible. It doesn't really matter in the end, because what we're talking about is all the same people, whether the Shia militias or the Iranian Quds forces that back them. And what we need is an actual response. We need a disproportionate response. We always hear about proportionate responses. Okay, does that mean we kill 3 of them? No, it should not mean that. The enemy should believe that you're going to hit them 10 times harder. That's how you get them to actually stop. Well, look, I don't have the list of targets, and if I did, I wouldn't say them on TV. If I had the list of targets, that's for the president to decide. But it's a lot more than three of them dead, that's for sure. It's enough to make them not do it again. That's strategically what we're looking for. Now, tactically, I can't tell you exactly what that looks like. I don't have the list of targets that we have as available options in front of me. But it needs to be something that raises eyebrows. Remember when President Trump killed Qasem Soleimani? All right, that was a pretty serious escalation. But what happened? Did we start a war? Did we get into a war with Iran? No, we didn't. In fact, we sent a message that said, you should not mess with us. We're tired of your Quds forces training surrogates to attack our forces. It was noted earlier, 165 attacks since October 7th on our forces throughout the region. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And you have to acknowledge that our response has not created the deterrence that is necessary to create peace.
So let me ask you, Congressman, and you bring up Qasem Soleimani, the terrorist who was targeted and killed, and there wasn't a wider war, as you note, afterwards. We heard President Biden today talk about this idea of, well, he doesn't want a wider war. Could there be a response? Are you worried about a wider war? Maybe that's the direct question for you. Are you worried at all that any sort of disproportionate response could potentially lead to a wider war, or you don't even think that's a possibility?
I really don't. I'm not worried about a half-rate power like Iran. I think too many people wring their hands worried about what the Iranians are going to do in retaliation. Why are we worried about the Iranians? You know, if we were talking about China or Russia or some other nuclear-powered state, you might have a different conversation. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Iran. We've allowed them to kill 3 of our service members. That's unacceptable, and the response needs to be enough so that they don't even think about doing it again because they're so afraid of what the escalation might be, and they should be afraid.
Congressman Crenshaw, we'll leave it there. Thank you for being back here on the Hill out of that House Intelligence Committee briefing. We appreciate the time. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.